Welcome, friends. This is Archangel. Ah, dear old mom. You know, we are all so indoctrinated with our indebtedness to mom for the 9 months of inconvenience that we caused her, followed by the stretching of her skin and vagina in order to squeeze you out. Then there is the crying and the diapers and the sleepless nights, and all the things that she ceaselessly does just so you can exist. Yeah, we have all been inundated with our absolute debt obligation to mom, and thus subjugation to her service for our very lives, as well as the service of all mothers and all potential mothers, which pretty much covers the entire female population. Meanwhile, the guy who slaves his life and vitality away to protect and provide for this lady as she raises offspring only to have society worship her for this role she is absolutely supported in. Yeah, this guy is a chump, whom we devalue as we marginalize his contribution, mock his genitalia and intellect, and ultimately blame him for everything possible. And furthermore, when push comes to shove, he gets sacrificed in order to save the fair maiden, that we might maintain society's love affair with females, which justifies their exaltation. That pretty much sums up our cultures. Gynocentric. We elevate and exalt females, while conversely, we devalue and deem males expendable. Yet, the reality is, these grand angels that we call mothers, they are still female, and this means they are self-interested and contemptuous of males. Talking less than favorably about mothers, any mother, is like spitting in the holy chalice, because mothers, we are told, are the closest thing to God on this planet. That's how much they are utterly worshipped, and since females in general are angelic and males are demonic, thus any ill talk of females or mothers comes from an insolent demon spawn who desecrates his dear mother's sacrifice and stains her holy reputation. This is how much we deify females with offspring. Indeed, no one likes to admit the not-so-fuzzy side of mothers in actuality. We care not to address truisms about females or mothers, like the fact that more than a few mothers have children for numerous reasons that do not involve love and tender caring. They accidentally get knocked up. They are using kids as control or leverage against males to extort from them, or they use kids as a paycheck from the state. Some have kids in order to have a little workforce on the farm or ranch. They have children for ego, to have this personal experience of being this glorious divine being that we call mommy. They have children in order to plow a clear path in society, because now, being equipped with children, they have an exemption card for any situation by claiming it has some bearing on their children, and everybody lets her skate by, cutting in line at the grocery store, or holding up the plane at takeoff, or leaving work early because it involves her child. Having a kid gives you a mommy pass to get nearly everything you want, and have males service you even if you are not pretty. By using the mommy card, which in combination with the sex and fragility card, thus they get everything they want from these knuckle draggers. However, the point here is that most females have children for self-enriching reasons of protection, provision, or the personal experience, not from a place of wanting to dedicate her life to another being that will fill diapers, break stuff around the house, and be sassy and rebellious when they hit their teenage years. But rather, females have children for personal, self-enriching reasons, and then they turn around and make this being feel indebted to her for a few months of back soreness, stretch marks, and maybe some vaginal tearing on the way out. So, into slavery, males are born, in more ways than we can count. Yet, we do not put the same obligation on daughters as we do sons. Male offspring are somehow more indebted to mothers, because she had to carry this nasty, stinking, testosterone-producing dude in her precious feminine grail for months on end, only to give birth to a creature that will one day rape, pillage, and plunder females and oppress them. Now, there are many sacrifices mothers make, no question. But what no one wants to talk about is the malicious, sadistic side. If you are indebted to mothers for gestation, then should mothers be indebted to children for trauma inflicted by her upon offspring? If she abuses them or is neglectful, if she is emotionally manipulative the way females are with males in romantic scenarios, should she then be made responsible for mistreatment? If she drinks whiskey and smokes crack while she is pregnant, should she then in turn be indebted to that child because of the damage she has caused? If she simply talks ill of the developing baby or has thoughts of anger against the child developing in her, which can cause psychological detriment to that child, should she then be obligated to that child the way we currently charge children with indebtedness to their mothers? I have to tell you that the reality of the situation is that mothers have a very shady side because they can do nearly anything to their children and turn around and be seen as benevolent angels because they are a mommy. Now, some mommies are outright abusive and others, the majority, are more nuanced and passive-aggressive. I realized this the other day while having a conversation with a couple of guys, and one mentioned that his mom used to pop his zits, and she would go after his brother and pop his zits as well. Then another guy said, yeah, his mom did the same thing when he was a teenager. Curiously, other males over the years have relayed this little seemingly insignificant bit of trivia to me. And what cinches up this observation is that my mother did the same thing. She would come up and pop zits on my back and my face and make me sit there through it. The zits on my shoulders hurt the most. Now, I really have not heard of a mom picking a teen daughter's zits, or conversely, I do not know of any fathers popping teen daughter's zits, or son zits for that matter. No, this is uniquely a mother-to-son trespass, probably because males are more likely to have acne because of their shifting hormonal patterns. Anyhow, this is a curiosity and actually reveals quite a lot. For one, females feel entitled to physically trespass males, but specifically offspring. Obviously, we mutilate male genitals, and then we physically correct them as they grow. But more importantly, females feel entitled to cause them pain at their leisure. My mom, it would seem, seriously enjoyed popping zits on me and my brother. And when it hurt and we got mad, she played it off like, oh, we were to blame for having acne. She was just trying to help. Moreover, perhaps this behavior is resultant from mom's disappointment. Maybe she exhibits this disappointment in the form of a mother that has a less than adorable kid with acne, and we all know that kids are representations of the parent. So perhaps that mother is demonstrating disapproval by causing that boy torment and popping his zits out of spite, that he is male, he is flawed, and he is not the perfect little representation of her out in the world. Now, without overanalyzing this occurrence, still, I have noticed a morbid fascination by mothers to pop zits of sons. Why is this? They pretend like they are trying to help Junior with his acne, but I remember more dermatologists than I can recall advising us not to pop the zits. So not only do mothers not pop them for son's benefit, they go against many physicians' advice and cause him pain and torment anyway, which may lead to surface scarring. This does not even address the psychological ramifications of having acne, being embarrassed, and social ostracization in a tender period when kids seek the approval of peers. Then we compound it with a sadistic parent that likes to come up and make light of your acne and pop it, causing you torment and pain. To the blue pill world, this may sound amazingly trivial with exaggerated import, like I am making up conspiracy theories over a spilled glass of milk. But then these same brainwashed sheeple will give females a pass to skate no matter how they abuse males or male offspring. However, I believe this example is understated in terms of disdain for males and morbid delight in their suffering. Indeed, this really is a very rich example of female contempt towards males, and their fascination with and entitlement to physically trespass males and torment them, specifically the males they are charged with caring for, which suggests more contempt than tormenting anonymous males. Though at the end of the day, it's all male devaluation, which ultimately helps drive expendability of the male. So there is really no caring, legitimate reason for mothers to do this other than sadism in some form for males and their male offspring, especially when a mother would sneak up and ambush a son with a shoulder zit pop, which happened to me more than I can remember. There is nothing caring about this. It is covert, sneaky, and dare I say mothers take some morbid satisfaction in this. Or mothers would tell kids to hold still while she dug at your face. And if it hurt or you got mad, she would throw in the shaming tactics about growing up or being tough, etc. Either way, this action of mothers onto sons follows the societal paradigm where we take satisfaction in trespassing males and causing them pain and annoyance. This is a very suggestive occurrence, and it hides deeper shades of non-fluffy sentiments towards males. Yes, I am aware that some mothers and daughters can't stand each other, and maybe some mothers pick some daughters' zits. But friction between mother and daughter is more an alpha-female animosity, rather than a mother unconsciously demonstrating contempt for females in general. Mother-daughter friction is much the same as father-son friction. It is a fight for dominance. But more to the point, mothers are female, and females have preference for females and female welfare. So even if mothers accost pimples on daughter's face, they would not take the same delight in popping a daughter's zits that they seem to get by tormenting sons when they attack his acne. I bet if people are really honest and assess certain motherly behaviors or occurrences from their past without the rosy glasses, they will realize many behaviors like this are more subtle actions of contempt as opposed to outright abuse, which are hidden because it seems as though it is not outright abuse, though there are plenty of mothers that outright abuse their boys. And in other videos, as well as Green Eggs and Man, I outline a disturbing number of cases where mothers have maimed, burned, and outright cut off their helpless sons' genitals. Really, think about how mothers hurt their sons. They have bias against males, and that bias gets passed on to males. So, at the very least, that son hates himself and other males, and thus psychological damage is nearly ubiquitous. Mothers can't help but impose their male disdain onto their sons. And such contempt bleeds through to action, such as the aforementioned torment through zit popping. Some sons get away with a light amount of misandry and obligatory subjugation to mom for birth, whereas other sons have it far worse. They are outright abused, and an increasing number of females are conspicuous about their misandry. There is a disturbing number of disgusting mothers that have specifically injured their sons' genitals over the years. Whereas, by contrast, I cannot find reportings of fathers burning their daughter's labia, or ripping her vulva, or cutting off her clit and blaming it on the dog. Nor do I see reports of mothers injuring their daughter's genitalia. But there are too many sickening reports of mothers, the holiest position of humanity, injuring their son's genitalia, the child they are supposed to care for more than life itself. Yes, there are some fathers that sexually abuse their daughters, as there are mothers that sexually abuse as well. Yet even in the absence of reports of parents injuring their daughter's genitalia, there are too many reports of mothers injuring their sons' genitalia, which shows that they have the highest form of contempt for males, injury of their genitals, which demonstrates hatred of the very anatomy that makes them male. How can we trust infantilized women children, divorced of responsibility for their actions, to occupy the most exalted position in society, motherhood, and care for a helpless being? Many women abuse their position and angelic reputation to commit all manner of assault against a being that she is supposed to care about over her own life. Indeed, it may be painful to look back and admit a mother's callousness or malice. Yet, once we scrap the motherhood exaltation and debt propaganda, then we will begin to see more and more zit-type examples that demonstrate agenda, not motivations of selfless love. We need neutral perspective and rationality when observing mothers. They are not the holiest of holies. They are not unbiased, impartial love and kiss dispensers. They are mortal and fallible, and they are female before they are mothers, meaning they come programmed with all the biases and predispositions of females, in much the same way that males are male before they are fathers. Yet, we exalt mothers and degrade and mock fathers. Look how many mothers order the genital mutilating of their newborn sons, and then talk to me about unconditional love and protection and care from these altruistic angels. Give credit where credit is due. To mothers that genuinely sacrifice, yes, recognize and thank them. To the rest who mistreat their sons, give them the blame that they rightfully deserve. And no, you do not owe them some sort of forever debt for birth. They had you for their own enrichment, whatever that reason was. You are not bound to indentured servitude to any mother, especially zit poppin' mamas. Friends, stand with me. Live free.